Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I hope all of you are doing good. First of all, I would like to thank all of you for joining in. Uh, if you're watching the live stream for the very first time, please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and, please make sure to like the live stream as well. This is something that would greatly motivate me, in providing the new content. So yeah, I would really appreciate if you would subscribe to the YouTube channel and like the live stream. Also, I have pinned the link of my Discord server in the chat box. You can simply just click on the link and join the Discord server. I also regularly share my analysis over my Twitter account. So if you're not following me over Twitter, please make sure to give a follow over there. Uh, you know, I regularly post my analysis over Twitter, and if you would like to see a little bit more organized feed, then you can simply just join the Discord server. The link for both of these socials, they're simply just in the description, and they have also been pinned in the chat box. All right, so let's start the live stream. Good evening from Philippines, sir. Yeah, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. I hope all of you are doing good. Uh, let's start the live stream by this tweet that I recently posted. And by the way, this is going to be a very important live stream. So I would really appreciate if you guys would stick with me, towards the end, because we're going to talk about a lot many important things, like, the possibility that BTC could go back to $50,000, and even there is possibility. I would not rule out the possibility of price going down to $42,000. I have changed my narrative a little bit. So I recently posted this tweet. Start taking profits on BTC when it goes to 67K to 68K. And as soon as I did that, I started getting a lot many DMs over my Discord that, what was the reason that I posted that, price could go back to uh, if I was expecting price to go down to like $50,000 or $42,000, $43,000. And by the way, if you would like to connect with me, the best possible way to do so is simply just join the Discord server, and you can simply just DM me over Discord. That's the easiest possible way that you can connect with me. So let's start with this tweet that I posted yesterday, that start taking profits on BTC when it gets to 67K to 68K. That obviously is relevant for those people who took any spot trade, who took any swing long position from 53K, 54K. And by the way, when I did the last live stream, I told you guys about this spot trade that it took back on uh, it was back on 6th of August, right? So back on 6th of August, we took this spot trade. The entry for this spot trade was at $55,000. The price currently is like around 10% up, I would say. At this point, it's around like 10% up, but at peak, it went to around like 13.550. And we are we are currently following this channel. And by the way, this is a bullish flag pattern, right? But let's forget about the flag thing. Let's only just focus on this channel right here, because that's the whole discussion basically revolves around this channel. And you know people, to be very honest, have started religiously following this channel. There are certain instances when you need to take a break from technical analysis, and in my opinion, people are literally too little too invested into this channel, little too invested into this bullish flag pattern, that they're completely ignoring the rest of the facts. But anyways, we would be talking about all of that. So what exactly is the current situation like? Looking at this bullish flag pattern, obviously, we have so far failed to break above the upper boundary of this channel. We have failed to break below this lower boundary of the channel, which means that this bullish flag pattern, it has not been invalidated as of now. But if you guys remember, I have been saying this since last few live streams of mine, that the bullish flag pattern, it usually becomes a lot more ineffective if price retraces 50% down below the overall zone. What do I exactly mean by that? So the pole of this bullish flag, it would basically be starting from this point, right? It would basically be starting from this point. So if you would look at this whole region, let's use the simplest possible tool, and that is the rectangle tool. you can just see that, price has almost retraced below the 50% level. And by the way, this is a 50% level. So, just like I have mentioned in some of my previous live streams also, that, whenever price retraces below the 50% level, the bullish flag patterns, they become a lot more ineffective. They're usually not that much effective. Okay, this is just simply an observation. There is no hard and fast rule when it comes to this, but price has already retraced and in fact has closed like 2 to 3 daily candles below the 50% level. And what scares me a lot, this discussion, it basically revolves around psychology as well. What usually scares me a lot is that people are little too much invested into this bullish flag pattern, that they have completely forgotten about the fact that what would be happening if price breaks below this channel. Like, what exactly is the plan B? So nobody really has thought about any sort of plan B. And we would be talking about the plan B as well. We would be placing some limits at very peculiar point. That may sound like a very peculiar price point for you, but yeah, we would be placing some limits at the end of this live stream as well. So price so far is following this channel right here. We have failed to once again break above the upper boundary of this channel. We have failed to break below the lower boundary of this channel, which means that this channel, it's completely preserved as of now. If you would look on the daily time frame chart, you need not to be looking at the 4-hour time frame chart or like the like any lower time frame charts. You need to be starting from the daily time frame chart. And if you would focus on daily time frame chart, you would notice that price so far has failed to break any daily candle below this channel right here. Similar is the case. Similar is the case with MTF 200 EMA as well. So if I turn on the MTF EMA average, you would notice this thing. And by the way, this is one of my favorite indicators. I have been mentioning this over and over again in every possible live stream, that MTF EMA, it's one of my favorite indicators. And I take pride in the fact that I came up with the idea of developing this indicator. By the way, it's an extremely simple idea. Any one of you could just go and try to try to develop this indicator, because it's simply just based upon a very, very, very common idea that instead of plotting 200 period exponential moving average on, let's suppose, 4-hour time frame chart, 12-hour, daily, 3-day and weekly time frame chart, it simply just plots all these moving averages on all these different time frames, and then simply just takes the average of all these moving averages and plots them as one single line. And this is what MTF 200 EMA is doing. So this line, this dynamic line in front of you on the screen, is basically the average of 200 period exponential moving averages plotted on all the time frames that I just mentioned to you. And you can clearly see that there have been at least 2 instances on which price has failed to break below this MTF EMA. One instance was when price on 5th of July, bounced from this area. And by the way, this acts as a very good support region. So price bounced from this zone and straight away went to the upper boundary of this channel. Then once again went back to the MTF EMA. We did not have any break below the MTF EMA. Price is strongly bouncing from MTF EMA. And there is every possibility that price would now go up to 68K or $67,000 region. Now, there are quite a few reasons that I'm interested in taking profit at $68,000 or $67,000 region. The first thing you need to focus on is that, price is so far, price has been religiously following this channel, which means that, the first high it was, and this channel, it's basically a descending channel, right? Which means that, the first time price had the rejection of this channel, it was like $73,000 region. The second time, the region, it was somewhere around like 72,000. The third time it was 71,000. Once again 71,000. This time it was 70,000. So there is, this is basically a descending channel. Obviously, price could just wick a little bit above this channel, but there is every possibility that we would go up and have a strong rejection from the upper boundary of this channel. And this should become evident from one of my recent update as well. When price, just like a day or two ago, when price was trading somewhere around $61,000, $62,000 region, I clearly mentioned that, although this is one of the this is one of the most bullish candles, this is one of the most bullish daily candles that I have seen in the past like 6 or 7 months. But I mentioned this thing in my recent BTC update that price would be having some form of rejection around like $62,000 region. Why? Because first of all, this is basically the middle boundary of this channel. This is one thing, and the second thing is that you have you have basically like 2 or 3 dynamic resistance areas around here. And even if you would focus on the USDT dominance chart, this is USDT dominance chart, you would notice that price on the USDT dominance chart, it's going back to once again MTF 200 EMA. So MTF 200 EMA, regardless of any chart that you are looking at, it acts the very same way. Like if you would follow the chart for USDT dominance, once again, for those of you who don't know, USDT dominance is basically a chart that is negatively correlated with the Bitcoin chart, which means that if the price for Bitcoin would go up, the price for USDT dominance, it would go down. And if the price for BTC would go down, the price for USDT dominance, it would start going up, which means that they are inversely or negatively correlated with each other. So if at any point you're confused looking at the BTC chart, you can simply just open up the USDT dominance chart and you can clearly get an idea about what exactly could be happening next. So in the case of USDT dominance, the first thing that immediately should be catching your attention is that price is, as of now, price is back at this higher time frame daily support region. So if I extend this a little bit, you would notice that historically speaking, this has been a very good support area, right? You had price bounce off it, the first bounce, the second bounce, then price finally broke below this area. And by the way, with every bounce, it was a very strong one. You can clearly see this thing. The bounce happens, it was a very strong bounce, a second bounce, very strong bounce, and finally price breaks below this area, then comes back, gives this area a retest as a resistance area. The point here is that we are looking on the daily time frame chart, and we know this thing that the higher time frame you would go, the more accurate these things usually become. You talk about support resistance, you talk about trend lines, you talk about chart patterns. The lower time frame you would go, the less accurate these things would become. Okay, this is totally a separate discussion, but the point here is that we are currently on the USDT dominance chart, which is a chart that is inversely or negatively correlated with the Bitcoin chart. We are sitting on a very strong daily support area, and historically speaking as well, it used to act as a very good support. Price broke below this area, came back, gave a retest, and I literally say this in every live stream of mine that the first retest, it hardly ever fails. I don't know how many of you have been paying attention to this statement, to this sentence, but every live stream of mine, I have every now and then mentioned this statement that the first retest, it hardly ever fails. First retest, it's always a single best opportunity to take a long or a short trade. So in this case, price breaks below, gives the first retest, boom, you had the strong rejection happening, came back up, second retest, strong rejection, came back up, third retest, a smaller rejection. And a smaller rejection, what do we exactly mean by smaller rejection? Another very important fundamental law or fundamental rule that I have established in my trading strategy. So whenever you have price hitting into a level over and over again, be it a support or resistance area, sooner or later that level is just going to break, only if the retracements, they are getting smaller. So in this case, the first rejection, it was a huge rejection. The second rejection, it was a smaller rejection in comparison to this first rejection. So if I draw it for you guys, okay, this was your first rejection. And by the way, the purpose of these live streams is not just to give you an update on BTC. I could simply just come here and say that, okay, this is what's happening with BTC. That's where price would be bouncing from. That's where price could be getting rejected from. But no, the purpose of these live streams is to give you guys proper education as well, because I know that many people don't just watch my live streams to hear an update about BTC, but they be watching these live streams just to have an idea about how these technicals actually work, how the analysis usually just plays out. Okay, so this would be serving from like 2-3 years from now. If you would be watching these live streams, these videos, these live streams, they would be serving as a proper educational content for you, because I try my best to give you guys a proper logic, a proper backing with everything that I'm saying. So in this case, this was your first retest. In the second case, this was your second retest, and you can see that the rejection, it was not too big. Okay, the first retest rejection, it was huge. The second one, it was this just an ordinary one, and then the third one, it was a very small rejection. So by the time you had third rejection, you should have got the idea that, okay, price sooner or later, it's going to break above this resistance area. That's where you need to be a little bit more cautious. Okay, but price breaks above this resistance area, turns it into a support. I would not fully say that it turned into a support, because whenever you are talking about the reclaim of a region, you need to make sure that first thing, the consolidation is happening, meaning that if price is breaking above a resistance area, it needs to close. There is no hard and fast rule that how many candles need to be closed above or below a region in order to say that okay, this area or this level, it has been fully reclaimed. There is no hard and fast rule. It could be 2 candles, it could be 5 candles, it could be 6 candles. At minimum, at least there needs to be like 4 or 5 candles on whatever time frame you are looking at, 4 hour, daily, it does not matter. Whatever time frame you are looking at, whatever time frame that you have drawn your support to resistance area, there needs to be at least 4 to 5 candles closed above or below that certain level. So in this case, you can clearly see that price breaks above with great intensity, then goes up, but this huge wick is literally just telling you that okay, the selling pressure from the upside, it's too huge, right? Price was not able to continue with this momentum. The buyers, they were not able to continue with this momentum. Breaks above this resistance area, although has reclaimed this resistance area. Like we see this immediately after this bounce, that price has reclaimed this region. But once again, this wick should have given you an idea that okay, the sell off from the upside, it's huge, which means that price is going to come back to this support area very soon, and it's highly likely that this retest, it may fail as well. This is first thing. Second thing, you can see that price comes back to this support area, bounces from this support region, but once again goes back to this area. you know we have a strong rejection happening. And by the way, one thing that you could have done is simply just draw the 50% supply region as well. You can clearly see that 50% supply area, price gives a retest to that supply zone, has a strong rejection happening. And I would have never taken a as you can see, USDT dump. It was very evident till this point that price was going to break below USDT dominant price was going to break below this support region on the USDT dominance chart. And this is what exactly happened. Price breaks below the USDT dominance chart. Now let's just completely forget about the horizontal levels. And anyways, price just comes back up, reclaims this level, and finally has been giving the first retest. And this retest, it becomes extremely important. You see, why I'm having all of this discussion, why exactly I'm focusing this much on the USDT dominance chart, is because unlike the previous situations, you can clearly see that this strong level, it's completely coupled with this very strong support region, with this very strong dynamic support area, which means that there was every possibility just 2 days ago, there was every possibility that price would be having a strong bounce from this support region. And this is what exactly we are seeing as of now. Now, I'm not saying that, it would, price on the BTC chart, it would straight away go down to $50,000 region. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that, we would have to notice the intensity of this bounce. We need at least like 2 or 3 more candles. If this bounce happens to be a strong one, okay, then in that situation, we would have the idea that, okay, price is going to go back to like, 52K, 53K region, because there is going to be every possibility. And please do not be discouraged because, this huge wick right here on the daily time frame chart is basically telling you that, and if you guys have watched any of my previous live streams, you would know that, what do I mean by 50% demand and supply zones. You can easily draw the 50% demand and supply zones. So this is a very strong 50% supply zone, meaning that it's not going to be an easy thing on the BTC chart for price to go down below the $49,000 wick. Okay, this is going to be an extremely challenging thing. Especially looking on the USDT, looking on the BTC chart, we can also see that we have created a very strong 50% demand zone, which means that even if price falls back down, it would have a strong bounce happening from at least like $52,000 region. But in any case, you need to be a little bit cautious. Why? Because the USDT dominance chart, it's sitting not just on a strong horizontal support, but at the same time on a very strong dynamic support area, which is in the form of MTF EMA. And if you would look at MTF EMA, okay, so MTF EMA, price breaks below the MTF EMA, comes back, gives a retest at MTF EMA, a strong rejection happens. The second retest at MTF EMA is strong rejection, third retest, strong rejection, fourth retest, strong rejection, and then there were multiple retests around here. Price was not able to break above MTF EMA and the strong rejections followed. Once again, tries to break above MTF EMA but fails to do so, and a smaller rejection happens. Finally breaks above MTF EMA, gives the first retest. It was a bounce happening from this region, but it was not a very strong bounce, breaks below. Comes back, gives the first retest, strong rejection happens. Second retest, strong rejection happens. Finally comes back up, and now is going to give, or actually is giving, the first retest at this MTF EMA, which means that it's not going to be an easy thing on the BTC chart for price to break above $62,000 region, because first thing, price has not fully retested MTF EMA as of now. If you would zoom in a little bit, you would notice that we have not, we just fell back down to this horizontal support. If I extend it a little bit, it would be much more clear. So if I extend it like this, you would notice that this bounce as of now, it's not happening from MTF 200 EMA, but it's actually happening from this horizontal support, which means that it is going to be extremely challenging for bulls to break above $62,000 high, because MTF EMA, it's going to act as a very strong support. We have seen historically that every time price has come back to the MTF EMA, it has always given us a good reaction, at least in the past 7 or 8 months, which tells me that you need not to be greedy at this point. We have just closed one of the most bullish daily candles, but the point here is that we have even on the daily time frame chart, one daily candle has already closed, which means that if I open up this chart for you guys, on the daily time frame chart, you have a huge imbalance sitting around $58,800 zone, and the 50% of this imbalance, I usually whenever I talk about imbalances or fair value gaps, I always talk about the 50% level. 50% level, it's a very important psychological level. By the way, we have like 40 to 50 people watching the live stream. If you have not liked the live stream, please make sure to do so. This would greatly motivate me in doing more live streams and providing more educational content for you guys. Okay, this really gives us an idea that how many people are actually liking these live streams, how many people are actually interested in hearing about my thoughts and analysis and all that. So coming back to the point here, you have 50% of the fair value gap or 50% of the imbalance sitting around here. I did not, and then you have price having strong rejection from the middle boundary of this channel. All of these things telling me that it's not going to be an easy task for price to break above this high right here. Although this was a very bullish candle, this was a very bullish daily candles when you would compare it to the daily candles that we have seen in the past 7-8 months or so. But the point here is that you need a cool off period as well, in which all these buyers, they would be taking profits, and the new buyers, they would be entering at this area. And by the way, if you are wondering that why exactly price is able to defend this region, so let's go to this chart right here. Let's move to the 4-hour time frame chart, and let's turn off the MTF EMA. And so far, you can clearly see that quarterly VWAP is also something that plays an extremely important role, right? Whenever it comes to the BTC chart, quarterly VWAP, it plays an extremely important role. Once again, you can go back and have an idea, in terms of historical analysis, that you can clearly see, price breaks below quarterly VWAP, the first retest, second retest, third retest, finally breaks back up. First retest, strong bounce happening, finally breaks below. First retest, strong rejection happening, finally breaks back up. The first retest, a bounce is happening. So far price, I would not say. And by the way, we have a very strong support region starting from 59,500 to around like $60,500 region. This is a very strong daily support area, right? As of now, it's a very strong daily support region. So price, I would not say has fully reclaimed this daily support as of now, because we are literally just sitting somewhere in the middle of this support zone. Price should have at least stayed above this support zone for quite some time, given a few more candle closes above this zone, and then should have retested this zone. But in any case, the first retest, it is happening, it is turning out to be a successful one of this support zone, which means that 1 second. Okay, so which means that there is every possibility that price could have a small bounce happening from here. But also you need to pay attention to the fact that we are sitting on this quarterly VWAP. But something, once again, that worries me as of now is that USDT dominance chart. If you focus on it, we are sitting on the quarterly VWAP. Once again, the same thing. We are sitting on MTF EMA, a 200 period exponential moving average, MTF EMA. Then we are sitting on this very strong horizontal support. And it's exactly the opposite case with the BTC chart, because we are sitting on a strong resistance area at around like $62,500 zone. We have not fully reclaimed this level at 61,500 to 59,500. We have not fully reclaimed this zone, which means that there could be a rejection happening down to around this area where we have a next swing long position opened, right? When you would focus on the structure part, structure is something that we always start with. Structure is something that we always pay attention to whenever we are talking about, the BTC chart mainly. The structure, I have been mentioning this, in last like 3 to 4 live streams of mine when price was trading around 68,000, 69,000. Although I was expecting price to, just wick above and take out the highest sitting around $71,000 region. Unfortunately, that did not happen. But structure for us, it has played a very important role. It has played a very important role, and we have seen from time to time that structure, it has every last few live stream of mine that you would watch, you would notice me saying that if you would look at the price action of BTC for the past 7 or 8 months, you would notice this thing, that structure, it has been absolutely bookish, which means that if you have a bullish break of structure, if you have a bullish change of character happening, price stays bullish for quite some time. If you have a bearish change of character happening, price remains bearish for quite some time. And we have seen examples of this over and over again. For example, 9th of July was when I did my first live stream. It has been exactly like 1 month or so. So, price at that time was just breaking above this area at 58,800. And as soon as it happened, I clearly mentioned in my live stream that, okay, structure, it has been absolutely bullish now after such a long time, and now price most probably is gonna go up. And this is what exactly we saw happening. The change of character happened, and once again, price went from 58,000 all the way up to 70,000. So, after 70,000, I was clearly saying that if at any point price breaks and closes below 63,200, the structure, it would be turning bearish, and it would remain bearish for quite some time. Exactly, this is what we saw happening. Price breaks below 63,200, gives a small pullback, and then we had this run from almost like 65,000 all the way down to $49,000 region. And now, I mentioned this in some of my last updates also, that if price breaks and closes above $61,000 region, the structure, it would once again be bullish. This is exactly what we saw happening. Price broke above 61,000, gave a very beautiful 4-hour candle close above $61,000 region, which means that if you are a spot buyer, now this is a very important statement. If you are a spot buyer, and if you are not concerned about having a major drawdown, like if most of the times when you are buying in spot, you are not really concerned about having bought at like 61,000 or 59,000. But when you are opening high leverage long position, that's where you actually get a little bit worried about your entry prices. The point here is that the structure, we have established this fact, we have established this statement that if structure turns bullish, price remains bullish for quite some time. And if structure turns bearish, price remains bearish for quite some time. Now the structure has just turned bullish, which means that there is every possibility. Just forget about the USDT dominance chart. Just forget about the rest of the things. There is every possibility. Looking at the historical context, we know this thing that for the past 7 or 8 months, this has been the pattern that we have been seeing, right? The structure turns bullish, it remains bullish for quite some time. The structure turns bearish, it remains bearish for quite some time. The structure shift to bullish has just happened with price close above $61,000 region, which means that it could retrace down a little bit, and it would be very natural for price to retrace down a little bit. Okay, why? Because even if you would draw fib retracement level, the structure, by the way, it's not going to turn bearish until and unless price breaks and closes below $49,000 region as of now, as per the current price action, as per the current high, which is sitting at 62,800, as per the current low, which is sitting at $49,000 region. But there is every possibility if you would draw fib retracement level. And by the way, you know, uh, there are specific rules whenever you're working with fib retracement levels. You need to only draw fib retracement levels in a proper impulsive way. And secondly, we know this thing already, that whenever the trends they are extremely strong, price usually wouldn't retrace down to 65% or 70.5% fib retracement level. So in this situation, there is every possibility that price might only be retracing down to 38.2% fib level, okay, because the trend it has been extremely strong. But there are few imbalances sitting around here. You need not to put all of your entry at just one point. For me, I would simply just, I have said this in some of my previous live streams also, that I absolutely do not care about this statement that whenever the trends are strong, price wouldn't retrace down to 65%, 70.5% fib levels. Since for me these are only preferred levels, I would just keeping aside the discussion about trend being strong or weak, I would simply just always enter at 65% or 70.5% fib level. So I have drawn fib level right in front of you. It's sitting somewhere around here. We have quite a few imbalances sitting around here, which makes me think that if USDT dominance bounces strong from here, there is every possibility that price could go down to like around 57,000 or $56,000 region. And just to be on a safer side, that's where my entries are placed. Okay, we already have a spot position open, but in order to open a swing long position, if we get a major retracement, that's where I'm expecting the retracement to happen to, and that's where I would be entering into a long position. Absolutely, it's a game of nerves. It's a game of patience, because I know that a lot many people are being impatient at this point. They are being completely sidelined. They are completely being baffled by this huge move from 49,000 all the way up to, it's like around like 25% or 27%. Yeah, so it's like around 27% move that we have seen in the past like 3 or 4 days. So people get completely sidelined with this move, because the majority of the retail traders, they already got flushed when price broke below 54,000, 53,000 support. Okay, but on the daily time frame chart, it was just one wick, right, below the MTF EMA. On the daily time frame chart, it was just one wick below this channel right here. On the daily time frame chart, it was just one wick below this strong horizontal support sitting at 53,000 to $50,000 region. All right, so once again, just giving you guys a quick recap of what we have discussed so far. And by the way, the most important part we have not discussed as of yet, which is that, why I'm expecting a price rejection around $67,000, $68,000 region. We would be paying attention to that part as well. And next very important question, that what would be happening after that rejection? Uh, First of all, just a quick recap of things that we have discussed so far. Price is following this channel. Okay, we have failed to break below the lower boundary of this channel. We have failed to break above the upper boundary of this channel. But we know this thing, that whenever price is compressed in a very narrow range, the breakouts happen, and the breakouts are usually very impulsive, which means that if price breaks above $73,000 region, the last all-time high, it's going to be a very impulsive break above, and it would be extremely hard for you to catch that move. So it's gonna be completely up to you if you would wish to take partial profits around 68,000 and leave some of the position open, with price just being completely risk-free. Yeah, so it's just going to be completely up to you. The second important thing that we have discussed is that USDT dominance chart. The USDT dominance chart, it's sitting at this strong horizontal support. It's sitting at quarterly VWAP. It's sitting at MTF 200 EMA. So it's not going to be an easy thing for bulls to break below this horizontal support, or we can say that it's not going to be an easy thing for bulls to break above this last high at like around $62,800 region. And one way that you can understand this statement is by saying that we had this huge impulsive move on the daily time frame chart starting from 55,000 all the way up to 62,000, which means that a lot many buyers who pushed the price in this move, who pressed market buy buttons, they would be taking profits around this resistance area, which means that it's going to be very natural to see a cool off happening. It's going to be very natural to see a cooling period in which a lot many buyers, they would be taking profits, a lot many sellers, they would be entering into the market, a lot many new buyers, they would be entering into the market, a new position, some of the new positions, they would also be opening up at this point. So it's going to be very natural to see a consolidation happening around in this area. The consolidation period, the consolidation range, for me, it is as wide as starting from 62,000 going all the way down to around like 57,000, 56,000. So if at any point you see a retracement down to 57,000, 56,000, please do not lose any hope, because USDT dominance chart, it has to give price a bounce from this area. BTC chart, it is sitting at resistance area. You will be seeing a cool off period in which a lot many people, they would be exiting the market, and a lot many new buyers, they would be entering into the market. So market needs to consolidate a little bit around it, and it's very natural. You can see that, in this case, you had this huge daily candle towards the upside, and then for next like 2-3 days, you saw this cooling period in which price consolidated a little bit. So with every move, every huge impulsive move, you would see that there is always a cool off period followed later on, in which price consolidates a little bit around in those zones. So this is all about the current market situation. But what exactly is the point of this tweet? That if price goes up to 67,000, $68,000 region, we need to start taking profit. uh, First thing, the first reason for this statement is that, once again, price has been religiously following this channel, which means that, and by the way, this is a descending channel, which means that the first high, it was around 73,000, the next one around 72,000, then 71,000, now like around 69,000, 70,000, which means that there is every possibility. And by the way, on average, it has taken price almost 25 to 30 days to go back from the lower boundary of the channel to the upper boundary of the channel. In this case, it was once again a period of like 20 days. Once again, it was a period of like 25 days. It was a period of like 25 to 30 days. So it's going to happen. It wouldn't really be happening anytime soon. So on average, if we consider that it's only a period of like 20 days, then we are not really going to see price around $68,000 region before 25th of August. So you would see price around 68,000, 67,000 by the end of August. That's what I'm expecting, because on average this has been the pattern. The second important thing, once again, is that price is following this descending channel, which means that there is every possibility that price would go up to the upper boundary of this channel and would have a strong rejection happening around in this zone. And let's try to use fib retracement levels and see that on average where exactly the retracements have taken place from, because we know this thing that every high has been lower than the previous one. So in this case, for example, let's draw fib retracement level from the start of the impulsive wave to the end of this impulsive wave. You can see that the retracement happened up to like 88% level, right? If you would consider this high, this low, the retracement happened once again up to 88% fib level. All right, if you would consider this case, start drawing it from the start of the impulsive wave to the end of the impulsive wave, the retracement exactly happened up to 88.6% fib level. So in this situation as well, if you would draw Fibonacci retracement from the start of the impulsive wave to the end of the impulsive wave, you would notice that the 88.6% level, it's somewhere around 67.5k level, which means that there is every possibility that price would be moving something like this, and by the end of August you would have price wicking up to this area, touching 67k to $68,000 resistance area, and that's where you would have a strong rejection happening. Okay, because I cannot, at this point I cannot assume that we would have a strong break above this channel. We would have a strong break above this bullish flag pattern. Now if you have been watching, if you have been following me for quite some time, you would know this thing, that I'm more of a trader and less of an investor. I do not like to say that, okay, we are going up to 130k, 150k, 200k by the end of this year. I'm not concerned about 150k or 100k or 200k. I'm more concerned about 68k and 61k. So, this is basically the difference between a trader and an investor. So an investor wouldn't really care, like BlackRock or MicroStrategy, they do not really care if price is going up to 68,000 or 70,000. All they care about is if it's going to 150k or 200k. That's how you would watch them making predictions about 150k, 120k, 130k. But if you would ask any of the traders, they would be playing level by level, which means that they would only be concerned about if price is gonna break above 68,000 or not, or if it's gonna break below $49,000 region or not. Okay, that's where the majority of the traders, they would be concerned about, because they would simply just be playing level by level, right? So another important thing, and by the way, we have quarterly VWAP on the daily time frame chart around 62,000, 63,000. That's where the strong rejection is happening from. And another thing that tells me that the rejection, I have given you at least 3 reasons as of now based on which the rejection around 67k, 68k could be happening. The first one was the upper boundary of the channel. The second one was that if you would draw fib retracement levels, you would notice that every time the rejection has happened from 88.6% fib level, if you would consider all these fractals. And something that tells me that this fractal indeed is playing out is if you would draw fib retracement level from this swing high to this swing low, normally where exactly we expect the rejection to happen, starting from 65% fib level to 70.5% fib level. And you can clearly see that price wicked this 65% fib level and just had this sell off happening, which means that this fractal, there is no doubt in saying that price would eventually go up to this area. This sell off, it's not going to be huge, it's just a cool off period, and price would eventually go up to $68,000 region. And I just told you that in a matter of like 2 weeks you would see price around $68,000, $67,000 region. But the point is that 65% rejection has happened, which means that it is a successful fractal, which means that this fractal is not wrong. We have drawn it correctly, which tells me that by the time price gets back to this area, it's going to be upper boundary of the channel. It's going to be a strong resistance area in the form of horizontal support. It's going to be a very strong 88.6% fib level retracement area. So there is every possibility that you would see price wicking above this area, and once again a strong rejection happening. And I can clearly see this thing. And what happens next is, once again, it's open to discussion, it's open to observation. But I'm going to make a very bold statement, very huge statement, that now I am expecting price to go down to at least $42,000, $43,000 region. And that's where, as soon as price goes up to, once again, I'm making a huge statement. This is probably one of the most important statement that I have made in the past 6 to 7 months. As soon as price goes up to $68,000 region, I would be closing majority of my long positions. I would be closing the majority of my spot positions. I would be taking profit on my spot positions on BTC that I have been holding for quite some time, almost like it's been almost an year. I would be taking profit on almost all of those positions, or at least taking 80 to 90% of profits on all those positions, and I would simply just be sitting in USDT. I know that it's a very bold statement, very important statement. It could simply just turn against me, because I have been holding all these spot holdings for quite some time. And if BTC breaks above $68,000 region and goes up to create a new all-time high, it's going to be a very bad decision. But in any case, I am expecting price to have a strong rejection around in this area. And I would see if I need to enter somewhere around like this support area, or there are major chances that I would be placing the next limits around $42,000, $43,000 region. Now price may not visit these areas anytime soon, but at least I can, just by looking at this dump back to $49,000 region, I can clearly say that it may have been a very good decision to have bought around 42,000 instead of simply just holding up to all this, holding with price moving in this chopping zone, right? With price moving in this sideways market, right? So for me, it's going to be a good decision to sell all of my holdings around 68,000, 67,000, and then simply just sit in USDT, simply just hold all of these USDT, and then simply just wait for price to come back to like $42,000, $43,000 region. And that's where I would be placing the majority of my limits. I'm not saying that this is going to happen anytime soon. But for me, if you would look at the historical context also, during the previous cycle, price created the first all-time high at $64,500 region. Now, once again, you guys need to pay attention to this. Lot many people think that the previous cycle it was different. The previous cycle it was relatively very easy. The previous cycle it was an easier thing to make money during the previous cycle. But sadly speaking, that was not really the case. Probably you have not been in the previous cycles and you don't know exactly what happened back then. So during the previous cycle, 14th of April 21, price creates this all-time high at 64,500. Then just in a matter of 1 month, okay, like exactly after April, May, June, exactly after 2 months, price went from 64,500 all the way down to $28,000 region, and that was a 56% down. So all the way from 64,500 all the way down to like around $28,000, $29,000 region. Then it took us like around 4 to 5 months to recover from 28,000, 29,000, and went up to $69,000 region. And that's where we created a new all-time high. Now, in this case as well, you can completely argue that, we have already seen a huge dump. So from 73,800 all the way down to 49,000, we have seen around a 34% dump happening. We have already seen a 34% retracement happening. But, a few things that actually are a point of concern for me. The first one, that a lot many people are looking at this channel. A lot many people are looking at this bullish flag pattern. A lot many people are paying attention to this bullish flag pattern. A lot many people are religiously following this bullish flag pattern. A lot many people are just expecting the price to forever move in this zone, which tells me that, obviously, if you would look at the laws of technical analysis, we know this thing that sooner or later price would have a huge breakout above or have a huge breakout down, because price currently is moving in a very compressed range, and whenever the volatility it's compressed up to this extent, the breakouts they are always huge. We have seen this, when price was trading under 38,000. We have seen this when price was trading under $50,000 region. So it's very obvious that breakout or breakdown, it's going to be massive, it's going to be impulsive, it's going to be huge. But what exactly concerns me is that lot many people, they are looking at this bullish flag pattern and they've completely forgotten about what would be the plan B. What if price just breaks below this bullish flag pattern? What exactly would they be looking at? And this is what I need to basically capitalize on this fear. I need to just make use of this point and try to think that price market makers, they would have once again make price get rejected around 68,000, 69,000, because once again people are optimistic. They're thinking that okay, this time we're going to create the all-time high. Now that price has liquidated the majority of the positions down at 49,000, $48,000 region. Now that we are going to create this new all-time high, and I would agree with this thing that if you would look at the liquidation heat maps, the majority liquidation events, for example, the last time when price went down to $53,000 region, the huge liquidation event happened, and $800 million worth of positions got liquidated. Last time when price went down to $49,000 region, almost $1 billion worth of positions got liquidated, which means that the majority of the positions, majority of the liquidation events that were to happen around in this area, they have already happened. Now the next major big liquidation event is sitting around $73,000 or $72,000 region, which means that there is every possibility. You see, we need to look on the daily time frame chart. If on the daily time frame chart price breaks above this channel or starts closing daily candles above this channel, that's where we would expect the price to break above. Okay, looking on the 4-hour time frame chart is not going to be any useful, because on the 4-hour time frame chart you can clearly see that we had multiple candle closes above this channel on the 4-hour time frame chart. Okay, we had multiple candle closes below this strong horizontal support on the 4-hour time frame chart. We had multiple candle closes below MTF EMA, 200 MTF EMA on the 4-hour time frame chart. But on the daily time frame chart, we did not have any break above this channel high. We did not have any break below this channel low. We did not have any break below this MTF EMA, which tells me that price eventually could wick up to, liquidate majority of the short positions at 72,000, 73,000, and then eventually it would fall back down to 42,000, 43,000. Because on the daily time frame chart, if you would look at this high volume node, right, this exactly is my point of concern. So if you would look at this high volume node, on the daily time frame chart, that's sitting once again somewhere around 67,000, starting from 67,000 up to like around 68,000. Another reason for me to believe that a strong rejection could be happening at 67,000, 68,000, but we have another high volume node sitting around 42 to $43,000 region, which tells me that you would have a huge wick up to this area similar to this one, just to liquidate the majority of the positions. Because if you would look at this pattern right here, right, if you would look at the pattern in the previous cycle, we created this all-time high, then price had this huge wick down to $29,000 region, then you had the huge buyback happening, price recovered a little bit, consolidated for like, almost like 1 month or so, then we went back down once again. We had like price slightly wicking below this previous low, meaning once again taking out all those long positions, meaning once again disappointing all those people who were thinking that okay, this time we are going to break above, taking out the majority of the stops placed below this low, and once again continuing with this run. So we did not have a huge wick down after this first wick, after this first sell-off wave. But in this situation, in this case, I am expecting that price at some point after having a strong rejection from 67,000, 68,000, it may just come back down, take out all the stops placed below this low, creating another liquidation event, and it may, this sell-off wave, it may just continue up to 42k, 43k region. And just to be on the safer side, I would be sitting in USDT. I would simply just be holding USDT. I would simply just be, having enough cash at my hand to buy around 42,000, 43,000. Because if this happens, this is going to be once in a lifetime opportunity. I repeat that, it's very common for patterns to fail. It happens every now and then. And, we have seen this happening during FTX as well, when there was a huge bullish flag pattern, during the FTX crash. And, something that happened was exactly the opposite. So in this case, I know this thing, you know this thing, every single person looking on the chart knows this thing, that there is a huge bullish flag pattern being printed right in front of us on the chart. So, if at any point price breaks below this bullish flag pattern, this bullish flag pattern gets invalidated, a lot many people are going to lose their hope, a lot many people are going to get disappointed, and that would be the perfect recipe of disaster for the retail traders, and that would be the perfect recipe for a pump, for the big players, for the market makers, for the institutions, when the majority, they would absolutely be knocked out, when the majority, they would absolutely be disappointed and would no longer be wanting to bid this market, right? So that's my whole point of view about the current market situation. Once again, you have a majority high volume point of control around 67,000, 68,000. You have fib level 88.6, which has historically played out very well during all these fractals. You have a strong supply zone sitting around here, and then you have a few other confluences sitting around 67,000, 68,000. So at least the majority of my position, it would be closed. Majority of my long-term holdings, they would be closed around 67,000, 68,000, and I would wait for price to get back down to 42,000, 43,000, or at least I would start scaling into my spot position if price returns back to this area or returns back to this low. That's where I would start scaling back into my position, right? I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. I hope you guys enjoyed this whole analysis. Please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. A lot many people who watch these live streams later on, they do not subscribe to the YouTube channel. They are non-subscribers. So yeah, I would really appreciate, just in 1 month or so, we have gone from almost 0 subscribers to like around 532 subscribers. So I would really appreciate if you could simply just grow this community forward, if you could just simply move forward. So yeah, if you are not following me over Twitter, please make sure to do so. And by the way, my mentorship program, it has already started. My mentorship program, it has almost like 100 plus students already registered in it. The price is as low as $250. So if any one of you would like to learn about all of these things, so you can simply just join in for the mentorship program. Simply just click the Discord link, pinned link in the chat box, okay, and join the Discord server. open a support ticket, and join the mentorship program. It has almost like 100 plus lectures, 100 plus different topics that we have covered. It's going to be a very extensive program starting from as low as $250. All of you can register in it. It's a very detailed program. We have provided access to all of our students about the video content, about the resources. They are going to be uploaded over our website. So yeah, it's going to be a very organized feed for all of you, a very organized learning pattern for all of you. So yeah, once again, any one of you who is interested in learning from me personally during one-on-one interactive sessions, they can simply just register in the mentorship program, right? I would have another live stream probably on Monday in which I would be sharing the complete details on the mentorship program. But if you would like to immediately register in it, you can simply just join the Discord server and open a support ticket. The link for the Discord server, it's going to be in the description of the video. Do you really think that injective will crash down to $7? Yeah, that's my point of view, because on the weekly time frame chart, what a lot many people do not understand is that on the weekly time frame chart, a lot many of these charts, they're simply just crashing, right? So on the weekly time frame chart, you need not to have a whole different science to understand, to realize that on the weekly time frame chart you have price simply just making these lower lows and lower highs. Even on the 3-day time frame chart, you can clearly see this thing. You have price continuously making these lower lows and lower highs, and every single wave, every single move towards the upside, it's simply just a corrective wave. For example, you could have taken a short position drawing this impulsive wave. Starting from the start of the impulsive wave, end of the impulsive wave, you could have easily taken this short position with price having strong rejection from 70.5% fib level. This is first thing, right? As you can clearly see this. Once again, price creates this impulsive wave, moves back up, creates a retracement wave. Once again, you have the strong rejection happening from 70.5% fib level. So you could have taken another short position, placing a stop above these highs. All right. So this buyback that you are seeing happening as of now on the injective chart, once again, it's simply just a retracement wave. So all you have to do is simply just take out your fib tool, draw your Fibonacci retracement level from the start of the impulsive wave to the end of the impulsive wave, and you would have once again a strong rejection happening around $23 region. Okay, you could simply just place your stops above this high and then target the new lows, right? This is what I'm expecting. I'm sorry, I have not seen. 1 second, let me see if it is following any fractal too. So if we extend this fractal, right, so 127% level, so there is every possibility that price could be going down to at least this area, 6.57. I'm gonna wait until BTC dominance hits 60, then I'm gonna enter altcoins. Regarding the altcoin rally, I have said this from time to time that on the 3-day time frame chart, on the weekly time frame chart, you have this huge trend line, right? Price has, on the dominance chart, price has failed to break below this trend line. So the altcoin rally, it's not going to start anytime soon until and unless price breaks below this trend line, and that's when you would have a huge altcoin rally happening. So it's the majority of these altcoins are already down below the bear market lows. So there is no point investing into any altcoins at this point, at least, because the weekly time frame chart, just like I showed you the chart for injective, there is a huge sell-off happening on the weekly time frame chart, right? So on injective, wait for price to at least get back to these spots, and that's where you can start investing. Can you share your fib settings? Yeah, sure. Okay, so these are the settings on the fib tool. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. Once again, thank you so much for joining in. You can simply just follow me over Twitter as well. you know. I regularly share my analysis over Twitter. Make sure to join the Discord server. The link, it's going to be right there in the description. Once again, thank you so much for joining in. Take care and have a great week ahead. Varun Sharma is asking, what about BTC death cross occurred? I'm not a big fan of golden crosses and death crosses, to be honest. This is probably one of the worst possible thing that beginners they're feed with. Like, if the golden cross happens, it's going to be bullish. If the death cross happens, it's going to be bearish. These technical indicators, I use EMAs myself. I use all of these dynamic lines myself. But the point is that I use them in a proper logical way, the way that they are meant to be used, not as just stupid crossovers happening, right? So for me, I've never really paid attention to death crosses or golden crosses, but yeah, it may be happening. It might have happened. So yeah, I have no idea about that. You can simply just take out the 200 period exponential moving average and 50 period exponential moving average on the daily time frame chart, and let me do it for you. Let me show you 1 second. So you have 200 and then you have 50. So let's color it in black. Let's turn off the rest of the things. Daily time frame chart, BTC. No, the death cross has not happened as of yet. So death cross is when the 50 period exponential moving average, it would cross the 200 period exponential moving average on the daily time frame chart. The golden cross happened back on 16th or 15th of October, and that's why I'm saying that you need not to pay attention to golden crosses or death crosses. You can see that this was a death cross, right? But price finally once again made another golden cross. So yeah, just don't pay attention to these stupid things. But in case you are interested, the so-called death cross has not happened as of yet. It would happen when this black line simply crosses below the red line, which is 200 period exponential moving average. Anyways, thank you so much for joining in, guys. Take care and have a great week ahead. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye bye.